Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Learning Podcast, the place where you can improve your English skills step by step, one conversation at a time. I'm Jason, your host.
And I'm Julia, your co-host. We're so excited you're here with us today. Whether you're walking, studying, or just relaxing at home, thank you for tuning in.
Today, we're diving into a topic that so many English learners experience freezing while speaking English. You know that moment when your mind just goes blank? You want to speak, but the words just disappear?
Exactly. And trust us, you're not alone. This happens to millions of learners around the world. Even native speakers sometimes freeze when they're nervous or unsure.
That's right. In today's episode, we'll talk about why this happens, what it really means when you freeze, and most importantly, how you can overcome it with some simple but powerful tips.
And just a reminder, this podcast is for learners of all levels, so don't worry if you don't understand every word. Just listen, relax, and enjoy. You'll get better just by listening regularly.
Before we jump in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and share this podcast with your friends who are also learning English. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear your story.
All right, let's get started. So what exactly does it mean to freeze while speaking English?
So Julia, let's break it down. What do we really mean when we say someone freezes while speaking English?
A good question. Freezing means that moment when your mind suddenly goes blank. You know what you want to say, but the words just disappear. You feel stuck, like your brain hits the pause button.
Yeah. And it can happen in so many situations, like when you're introducing yourself, asking a question, or even just trying to say something simple at a store or in class.
Exactly. You know the vocabulary, you've practiced it before, but when it's time to speak, your mouth won't move or your brain just shuts down. It's frustrating.
And it can make you feel embarrassed, nervous, or even ashamed. I've seen learners who just stop speaking altogether because they think freezing means they're not good enough.
But the truth is, freezing is a normal part of the learning process. It just means your brain is trying to connect what it knows with what it wants to say. It's like your brain is still building the road between your thoughts and your words.
That's a great way to put it. And here's something important: even fluent speakers freeze sometimes, especially when they're tired, stressed, or speaking in a new situation.
Yes. So if you've ever frozen while speaking English, don't feel bad. You're not alone. And today, we'll help you understand why it happens and how to deal with it better.
All right. Now that we know what it means to freeze, let's dig into the real reasons why it happens. So, let's dive into the big question: why do people freeze when they try to speak English? There's no one simple answer, but there are some very common reasons.
Yes, and the first big one is fear of making mistakes. So many learners are afraid of saying the wrong word, using the wrong grammar, or sounding silly.
Exactly. And that fear can be really strong, especially if people around you correct you too quickly or laugh. That fear can block your mind and stop your words from coming out.
Right. It's like your brain says, wait, if I speak, I might make a mistake, so I better stay quiet. That fear leads to silence.
Another common reason is a lack of vocabulary or not knowing how to form the sentence. Like, you know what you want to say in your native language, but you just don't know the English words yet.
Or maybe you do know the words, but your brain is still learning how to organize them in English: subject, verb, object, all of that. And while your brain is thinking, your mouth is waiting. That's the freeze.
Yes, and that connects to the third reason: processing time. Learning a language takes mental energy. When you're trying to translate or find the right phrase, your brain just slows down, not because you're not smart, but because it's working hard.
Exactly. Some people think, oh no, I'm too slow at speaking, but it's not about being slow, it's about your brain doing a big job behind the scenes. That's normal.
Another big reason is low confidence or self-doubt. If you don't believe in yourself as an English speaker, you'll freeze more often. You might ask yourself, who am I to speak English? Or, what if they don't understand me?
Yes, confidence is so important. If you're always second-guessing your English, you'll stay stuck. But remember, confidence grows with practice, not with perfection.
Then there's the pressure of social situations. If you're talking to a teacher, a native speaker, or someone in a formal setting, your nerves can suddenly take over.
Absolutely. Even people who speak English well can freeze when they feel like they're being watched or judged. That kind of pressure makes your mind go blank.
And finally, let's not forget about language and cultural barriers. Sometimes we freeze because we're not sure if what we're about to say is appropriate, or if we're using the right tone.
Yeah, like saying, "How are you?" Maybe fine in English, but in your culture, maybe it's more formal or less common. That uncertainty makes you pause.
So just to sum up, here are some of the most common reasons people freeze. 1. Fear of mistakes. 2. Not enough vocabulary or grammar knowledge. 3. Processing time, your brain is still thinking. 4. Low confidence. 5. Social pressure. 6. Cultural and language differences.
And here's the good news. All of these can be worked on. You can overcome them step by step.
That's right. And in the next part, we'll explain how your brain and emotions play a role in this, and why it's not your fault when you freeze.
Stay with us, we're just getting started.
All right? Now let's talk about something really interesting, what's actually happening in your brain when you freeze while speaking English.
Yes, because freezing isn't just a language problem, it's also a brain and emotion problem. When you feel nervous, your brain goes into what we call fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Exactly. That's a survival instinct. It's the same response your body has when you're in danger. Like, imagine you're in the forest and you see a wild animal, your body says, "Freeze, don't move."
Now, speaking English isn't dangerous, but your brain thinks it is when you feel scared, embarrassed, or judged. It sees speaking in public or making a mistake as a threat.
And that's when your brain shuts down the part that helps with thinking and speaking clearly. And instead, your emotions take control.
That's why your heart starts beating fast, your palms sweat, and your words disappear. Your brain is just trying to protect you, even though it's not really helpful in that moment.
So the freeze response isn't your fault. It's a natural reaction to stress. But the good news is, you can train your brain to feel safe when speaking English.
Yes, and we'll show you how to do that in the next part with simple ways to reduce stress and make your brain feel more comfortable when you speak.
All right, let's move on to something super practical, real-life examples of when people freeze while speaking English and how it happens.
So, now that we understand what freezing is and why it happens, let's talk about some real-life situations where English learners freeze. Maybe you'll hear your own story in these examples.
Definitely. One of the most common stories we hear is this. A student is in class, the teacher asks a question, and they know the answer, but when it's time to speak, they freeze. Their heart races, they forget the words, and they just shake their head or say, "I don't know."
Yes, or another one, a learner is at a coffee shop in a foreign country. They practiced how to order coffee the night before, but when they get to the counter, the words are gone. They point at the menu or just say, coffee, please."
I've heard this one too. A person is in a job interview or talking to a native speaker for the first time. They start strong with, "Hello, nice to meet you," but then they freeze. Their mind is full of thoughts like, what if I sound stupid? What if they don't understand me?
So true. And one more in a group conversation. A learner understands everything but stays silent. They're afraid to interrupt or say the wrong thing. Even though they have ideas, they freeze instead of joining the talk.
If any of this sounds familiar, that's okay. These examples show that freezing happens in all kinds of everyday situations. And it doesn't mean you're bad at English, it just means your brain is still learning how to feel confident.
Exactly. And the more you face these situations and practice staying calm, the easier it gets. Freezing doesn't have to stop you forever.
Coming up, we'll talk about the signs that show you're about to freeze and how you can catch yourself before it happens. So now let's talk about something important, how freezing affects your overall learning and growth in English.
Yes, because freezing doesn't just stop you in the moment, it can also hold you back over time. If you freeze often, you might start avoiding conversations altogether.
Exactly. And when you avoid speaking, you stop practicing. And without practice, your speaking skills can't grow. It becomes a cycle. You freeze, then avoid, then lose confidence, and freeze even more.
And it's not just about speaking. Freezing can affect your motivation. You might think, I'm not good at English or I'll never improve, and that negative mindset slows your progress.
But here's something really important. Freezing is part of growth. It's a signal that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and that's where real learning happens.
Yes, so instead of thinking freezing means I failed, think freezing means I'm learning. With the right strategies, you can break that cycle and move forward.
And speaking of strategies next, we'll look at the signs that show you're about to freeze and how to catch yourself before it happens. All right, let's get into the good stuff, how to actually overcome freezing when speaking English. These tips will help you break free from the freeze and speak with more confidence.
That's right. The first tip we have is to slow down. When you're speaking too fast, your brain struggles to keep up, and that's when freezing happens. Try to take a deep breath and speak more slowly. This gives your brain more time to think.
Exactly. Slowing down doesn't just help with freezing, it also makes you sound more confident. Native speakers speak at a normal pace, so you can do the same. No need to rush.
Next tip, practice speaking out loud every day. Even if you don't have a conversation partner, practice on your own. You can read books, repeat sentences, or even talk to yourself in English. This makes your brain more used to speaking English, so it becomes more automatic.
And don't worry if you make mistakes while practicing. Mistakes are part of learning, and the more you speak, the less likely you are to freeze. The key is consistency.
Tip number 3, create a mental script for common situations. Like, if you know you'll be at a cafe or the store, plan what you might say. Having a mental script gives you confidence because you won't have to think about every word in the moment.
That's such a great one. For example, you could plan what to say when you're introducing yourself, ordering food, or asking for directions. Knowing you have a plan helps your brain feel more relaxed.
Tip 4, practice relaxation techniques. You can try deep breathing, meditation, or even visualization. If you feel the freeze coming on, take a deep breath and calm your body. A relaxed body means a relaxed mind.
Yes, when you feel calm, your brain can think clearly, and you won't freeze. Try practicing these techniques regularly, so when you're in a stressful situation, your body already knows how to stay calm.
Tip number 5, don't be afraid to pause. We often think we need to fill every silence with words, but pausing gives your brain time to catch up. It's okay to take a few seconds to think before speaking.
That's right. Pauses are natural in conversations, even native speakers do it. So don't rush to fill the silence. It helps your brain find the right words and organize your thoughts.
Tip 6, use positive self-talk. When you feel that freeze happening, remind yourself that it's okay to make mistakes. Saying things like, I can do this or I'm getting better every day can boost your confidence.
Self-talk is so powerful. If you tell yourself, I always freeze, you'll freeze more. But if you say, I can handle this, you're much more likely to push through the freeze.
And the last tip for today, embrace the process. Overcoming freezing takes time, and it's a journey. Celebrate small victories like speaking for a few seconds without freezing or sharing a sentence in English.
That's so important. Don't expect perfection, and don't let the freeze stop you. The more you practice and keep going, the less often you'll freeze, and the more fluent you'll become.
So to recap, here are the tips. 1. Slow down when speaking. 2. Practice speaking out loud every day. 3. Create a mental script for common situations. Practice relaxation techniques. 5. Don't be afraid to pause. 6. Use positive self-talk. 7. Embrace the process and celebrate small victories.
These tips work when you make them a habit. So start applying them in your daily routine, and you'll notice less freezing and more speaking. Now, let's put these tips into action with a little role play. Julia and I will demonstrate what it looks like to practice speaking English without freezing.
I'm excited. Let's say we're at a coffee shop. I'll play the role of the customer and Jason will be the barista. Let's see how we can use the tips we just discussed.
All right, I'm the barista. Deep breath. Ready, Julia?
Yes, I'm ready. Hi, can I get a cappuccino, please?
Sure. Would you like any sugar or extra milk with that?
Yes, I'd like a little sugar and some oat milk, please.
Great. That'll be 1 cappuccino with oat milk and a little sugar. Smiles. Anything else?
No, that's all, thank you.
Okay. Your cappuccino will be ready in a moment. Hands over the coffee. See you next time.
How did that feel?
It felt good. Notice how we both took little pauses before speaking. And I also didn't rush when asking questions. We didn't freeze, and we practiced using calm breathing and natural pauses.
Exactly. It's all about getting comfortable with those pauses and slowing down. Even if you freeze for a moment, that's okay. Just take a breath and keep going.
And you can practice these role plays with friends or on your own. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. Before we wrap up, let's take a moment for reflection. If you've been listening closely, you've already learned a lot about freezing and how to overcome it. Now, I want you to take a second to think about yourself.
Yes, think about the times you've frozen while speaking English. Maybe it was during a conversation or in an interview, or even when speaking with a friend. Whatever the situation, recognize that it's completely normal.
Exactly. Freezing is part of the process, and it doesn't mean you're not a good learner. It's just your brain reacting to stress, and now you know how to work with it instead of against it.
That's right. And every time you push through a freeze, you're getting better. The more you face those uncomfortable moments, the less often you'll freeze in the future. It's all about progress, not perfection.
So be kind to yourself. Celebrate every small victory, like answering a question without freezing, or joining a conversation with confidence. Those moments add up.
And remember, you're not alone in this. All learners go through it, and with practice, you'll get stronger. So keep applying the tips we shared, and you'll see real progress in your speaking.
We believe in you, and you should believe in yourself, too. Keep going, you're doing great. As we wrap up today's episode, remember this freezing is just a part of the journey, not the end of it. Every time you face it and push through, you're getting one step closer to fluency.
Absolutely. Keep practicing, stay patient with yourself, and celebrate your growth along the way. Don't let freezing hold you back. Use it as a chance to get stronger.
And most importantly, keep speaking. The more you speak, the less you'll freeze. So keep challenging yourself, and remember, you're doing amazing.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you feel a little more confident and ready to take on the world. We'll see you next time.
That's it for today's episode. We hope you found these tips helpful and that you feel more confident in overcoming those moments when you freeze while speaking English.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and give us a thumbs up if you're listening on YouTube. And if you're on a podcast platform, please leave us a review. It really helps us reach more learners like you.
Also, if you want more tips and tricks to improve your English, make sure to check out our previous episodes and share this podcast with friends who are also learning. Let's keep growing together.
Thank you so much for listening. Keep practicing, stay positive, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.